I am Estelita Guadalupe Dicini Cordero. My family and friends call me Tillie for short. I was born in December 11, 1945, here in Narvacan, Ilocos Sur, at my grandparents' house in Barangay Santa Lucia. My parents are Jaime Cordero and Natividad Dicini Cordero, who are now both deceased. I have one sister, Leonila Menjola. She is married to Camilo Menjola, who just retired from the Department of Foreign Affairs as an attaché to our embassy consulate in Saudi Arabia. I'm single by choice, and I don't regret being single. I finished my grade school in St. Joseph's College, located in Quezon City, including my high school in 1963. I finished my AB and law degree at the University of the Philippines. I finished my law in 1971. I took the bar also of the same year and passed the bar, I would say, with flying colors, having finished number 11 for the topmost lady lawyer barrister of that year. I spent my childhood in Manila most of the time, where we studied. However, we would always come home to Narvacan every time we had a short vacation, Christmas, and I remember those years as fun years. We had our group of young kids, and we would always go around, and we would even go to the cemetery just to test how brave we were. This is our house in Narvacan. Used to be my parents' room. They built this house specifically telling me that this room would be my office when I finished my law degree. Because as early as high school, I told my dad I would be a lawyer. But I never came home after I finished my law degree. I worked in Manila most of the time. Being the firstborn of my parents and being the first grandchild, my lolo then was the mayor of Narvacan. I was quite spoiled by my aunt who bought me a lot of nice things. I had only one sister, Babot, when we were kids, and even now when we have some misunderstanding, after an hour we start talking with one another. So it doesn't take a day for us to make up after having some misunderstanding. My parents then were also working in Manila. They were the pioneer of the money changing business. After attending Mass in the morning, we would go to Luneta and breathe the fresh air of Luneta when we were kids and we were studying in Manila. When the tobacco industry started to boom here in Ilocos Sur, my parents came back to Narvacan and became tobacco traders. They earned their money from trading tobacco, and they were able to send us to school because of the tobacco industry then. So I owe a lot to the tobacco industry because with the earnings of my parents from their tobacco trading during the 50s and 60s, 70s, they were able to send us to school. So I support the tobacco industry here in Ilocos Sur. I would join my mom every time she would go to the barrios then to buy tobacco leaves during summer. I would join her and I see how it is, how they plant, how they cook tobacco, and that was fun for me also during my high school, grade school years, and early college. Since 1971, I left a multinational company to go on to my own as a practicing lawyer. My first job was with the National Grains Authority, which was the first government agency abolished by Marcos at the time he declared martial law. When martial law was declared, I decided to stay on in Manila because when I took up my law, I told my dad, who was the municipal mayor then of Narvacan, that I would come home and practice here in Narvacan or Ilocos Sur. But since martial law was declared, I thought there was no prospect of practicing law here in Ilocos Sur. So I stayed on in Manila, and as I said, I joined the National Grains Authority. I set up the administrative department of the National Grains Authority, and we set up the system for hearing administrative cases for airing NGA employees. After my stint with the National Grains Authority, I joined a private firm, Sibagaigi, a pharmaceutical company based in Basel, Switzerland, which is now Novartis, and I handled their HRD and legal department. When I reached the age of 43, I decided that I shouldn't stay too long working for a boss. I wanted to be my own man. So I ventured into law practice and set up my own law office in Quezon City. And slowly, through the network I have created in my previous employers, I was able to attract a few companies that became my retainers, and where I was able to sustain my law practice in Manila. There were times I would come home to visit my parents, and because of that, there were friends and relatives who encouraged me to join politics. And the first attempt on my part to join politics was in 1997 when I unsuccessfully ran for board member for the 2nd District. After that, I went back to Manila and concentrated again on my law practice. While I was in Manila, there were some young men from Ilocos Sur who visited me at my main law office and asked me to help them in their crusade here in Ilocos Sur. They were organizing this Save Ilocos Sur Alliance, which was supposed to fight corruption in Ilocos Sur. So I decided, after consulting my relatives, they said, go ahead, go home and help in that crusade. So I came home and spent several years working with this group of young men who were fighting graft and corruption here in Ilocos Sur. And because of this activity, I was encouraged to run for vice governor here in Ilocos Sur. And again, it was an unsuccessful attempt to enter politics. Probably God has other plans for me. I put it as God's will. Why I did not make a successful career out of politics. In 2007, I ran for vice governor. And after I came to learn the results, I was supposed to go home back to Manila again. But there was this call from a mayor in Abra who said he needed a lawyer who could defend him because no one, not one lawyer in Abra, would want to take his case because he was the only local politician who survived the GMA onslaught of enemies in Abra. And from then on, cases started coming in. And there were clients who visited me and said, "Can you handle this case for us here?" At that time, I was still spending most of my time in Manila, where I also had my clients, and just came back to Ilocos when I had to attend to my clients here in Ilocos and Abra. By this time, there are more cases now here in Ilocos so I was forced to set up this satellite office. As I earlier said, this used to be my parents' bedroom, but it was really meant to be my office when they constructed the house. So here I set up my office, and this is where I meet my clients here in Ilocos Sur. This is where my roots are. So there are friends and relatives I can interact with, and it's not as tense as it is working in Manila, where you have to grapple with traffic, the noise. It's a more laid back life here in Ilocos Sur, and it's also encouraging and enriching. I'm now 66. It's about time I spend my years also here in Narvacan, where I was born. In my house here, I live with my aunt, who's also an old maid like me. She's 98 years old, but she's still strong. An uncle who used to be my dad's bodyguard. I also take care of him, and he's 89 years old. So this is a house of senior citizens right now. I enjoy working in the garden, tending the bonsai, my pets. I have 3 dogs, 2 cats, 3 cows, and these are the things that make me happy. I have a rest house in Sulvec near the sea, and I enjoy staying there. Life is good. I enjoy life. I'm happy here in Ilocos Sur. I don't seek the noise and the din and the glare of neon lights in Manila anymore. Unlike when I was much younger, when I thought that life was in Manila and life in the province could be boring. But now I find it the other way. Life in the province is more exciting because you can really commune with nature here. Now here in Ilocos Sur, in my practice here, most of the cases I'm handling are criminal cases. And it's quite exciting compared to being a corporate lawyer. Because being a corporate lawyer, you're always dressed up and you always have to talk in English and meet powerful people to conduct your cases. When you handle criminal cases here in Ilocos, sir, it's down to earth. I can be in my shorts and t-shirt if I talk with my clients, and I feel more comfortable handling it. And it's more gratifying also, because you can easily see when you hear the verdict, it's guilty or not guilty, then you feel happy for your client. And there is an immediate gratification in handling criminal cases compared to corporate cases where it's always, you're talking about money, you're talking about corporations, things that are quite intangible or they don't have any feeling. Whereas in criminal cases, the cases you handle involve people, so you deal with people directly. So I find that more exciting because you meet all sorts of people, rich and powerful, farmers or whatever. You meet them. So I don't regret handling cases here now in Ilocos Sur. When I get invited to be a guest speaker before graduating students, I normally address my speech, not necessarily to the top 10 of the class, but I prefer giving my address to those in the last 30% of the class. When I was a student, I was not really the studious type of student. I was carefree. I had a lot of activities. I was not in the top 10 of the class. I was in the last 30% of the class. However, when I was in fourth year College of Law, that was the only time I realized I should study, because my scholastic record would not speak well of me for employment purposes. So I decided to study. And thank God I was able to make it good on the last year of my studies. And as a matter of fact, I even landed number 11 in the bar examination of class 71. And I would say that life has been good to me. My setback during my student years never deterred me from succeeding in life. So I tell this 30%, lower 30% of the graduating class, don't give up. What is important is you have a dream, what you want to be when you grow older. And if you're willing to pay the price to achieve these dreams, you will succeed. Don't feel bad that you are in the last 30% of your class. Go on dreaming, because eventually you will succeed. If you have a dream, you want to be this or that, 10 years or 20 years from graduation, you can achieve it. Just pay the price for it. And the price normally is hard work. I am Estelita Cordero. I'm 66 years old. I'm single, never married. I'm a lawyer, and this is my life.